Hello, geometry students. Welcome to a brand new unit. This one's called trig ratios. So let's go ahead and get a start. So in triangle RST, here are some of our measurements. What is the value of sine r to the nearest 100th? The first thing we need to know about this is t is 90 degrees, meaning we have a right triangle on our hands. That means in a right triangle, we are going to have the following property. It's called SOHCAHTOA. And that means the sine of an angle is going to be its opposite side. So let me actually go ahead and label these angles A, B, and C. And I'll label the sides opposite them, little a, little b, and little c. So sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So the sine of A is going to be little a over little c. And the sine of B is going to be little b over little c. And the sine of C is going to be little c over little c, which is 1. This applies only in a right triangle, but these values are going to stay constant no matter what the lengths of the sides are. So cosine A is going to be little b over little c, because adjacent over hypotenuse. And tangent A is going to be opposite over adjacent, so little a over little b. So that's what those letters stand for. O is opposite, A is adjacent, meaning right next to, and H is hypotenuse. So we want the sine of R to the nearest hundredth. Now, we don't know what those angles are, but we do know that the sine of R is going to be the side across from R, which is going to be the one connecting T to S. And we know that the hypotenuse will be the longest side in the triangle, so SR. And that means that sine of R is going to be the side across from it. So 33 divided by the hypotenuse, which is 65. And we're going to plug that into a calculator to see what we get. We are going to get 0.507, which is going to round up to 0.51. So we'll go to a new triangle. So right here, we have an OPQ. Q is 90, so that means we have a right triangle going on. We have these things, and what is the value of the tangent of O to the nearest hundredth? Now, I could tell you that it's going to be the opposite, so the side not containing, so QP divided by the adjacent, meaning the other non-hypotenuse side, so OQ. But that probably wouldn't give you enough info unless we just go ahead and see the solution. We are going to go ahead and see that the side opposite of O is 72, so QP, side adjacent is 65. And what we're going to do to find the tangent is SOHCAHTOA, so 72 over 65, because opposite over adjacent. So it rounds to 1.11. Now, all of these problems in this first part of the lesson are going to follow these patterns. We've got SOHCAHTOA, and you need to identify opposite over adjacent for tangent, opposite over hypotenuse for sine, and adjacent over hypotenuse for cosine, and just figure out which ones those are on our right triangle. So let's finally look at identifying trig ratios times, see what that looks like. We find the cosine of A, that means adjacent over hypotenuse, so 32 over 68. Tangent of B is opposite over adjacent, so 28 over 21. By the way, these side lengths are not reduced, so these fractions would technically reduce down, but in this example, you're going to have a much easier time because you don't have to reduce them yourself. But be very, very careful when you're clicking these because you need to get 20 of them right in order to advance. So be very careful. cosine A is going to be adjacent over hypotenuse, so 72 over 78, and then etc. As you continue on, you're going to identify some of these, and eventually you'll be okay. So 20 over 25, opposite of B over adjacent, and then just going to go ahead and round out the rest to show you it's not too bad to do. Tangent of B, sine of A, and then as we continue on, we get this rather quickly. Sine of B. Notice that we never asked for the sine of the third angle, which is the 90, because that's always 1. The cosine is always 0, and the tangent of it doesn't exist because you'd have to divide something by 0. By the way, tangent is equal to sine divided by cosine, because the hypotenuses cancel if you put so over ca. Sine A, 39 over 89. And then continuing on to the last couple of moments here. And done. That's all you need to do. Took 2 minutes and 10 seconds. You've got this, y'all. Have a good one.